Hello and welcome to Wildlife Camp. We began at Tsendze Rustic Camp, which is a campsite in the centre north of the park, and one of our visitors at night was this tiger beetle. And obviously it looks nothing like a tiger, but they are quite aggressive. They run around eating other insects, and this was a large spotted genet that we had come into the camp at night. There's always animals in campsites coming around day and night looking for scraps. And then we made a day trip up to the Tsendze River, and these were the only cats we saw on the entire visit. Would have been shameful if we'd spent 8 days in the park and didn't see any cats, but we found these lions in the heat of the day trying to get some shade in the riverbed. Lots of baby waterbuck on this visit. I don't think I've ever seen so many babies before. It seemed that every female had a little baby with her. Not far from the Tsendze campsite we found these hyenas. There's a culvert under the road and they have a den there, and it was raining and miserable, so they were just sleeping next to the road. After all that activity, it was back to sleep. Lots of birds in the campsites. This is a Natal francolin. And a crested barbet with its crazy coloration. The rain brought out a lot of beetles, so the hornbills were having a great time catching them. There is a causeway quite close to Mapani Rest Camp with quite a lot of water in, so there was always action there and we spent a lot of time there. And this is a saddle-billed stork. We always find black crake there, and it's a very sweet little bird, and their feet are way too big for their bodies. I made an almost identical video a few years ago showing a crocodile at the causeway. They get very, very close. This is a green-backed heron, and they are quite famous for their ability to use bait to catch fish. They'll drop little bits into the water and wait for fish to come up. I think it was using the stick as bait, but not very successfully. Nearby, a water monitor or Nile monitor, quite a small one, was burrowing around under the rocks looking for little goodies. The green-backed heron was sitting nearby. I think it was hoping that something would be flushed out by the monitor, but no such luck. Grey herons aren't known to use bait of any sort, but it was interesting watching this one with its stick. It looked like it was trying to use it to attract something. It kept dropping it into the water and then looking to try and catch whatever approached it. This was quite nerve-wracking for us. The wildebeest were very hesitant to come to the water for obvious reasons. And we were parked on the causeway, and just on the other side of the causeway the water was just a trickle with no crocodiles, but the wildebeest insisted on coming here. And I was sure that at some point a crocodile would leap up and grab one of them, but no. So very brave to stick their faces in water full of crocodiles, but not that smart to drink there when there were better places. And this is the common eland, which is a very large antelope, the largest species of antelope in South Africa, but we very rarely see them in Kruger Park. I hadn't seen them for years. There's another species of eland that you get further north in Africa, which is larger, but the males get up to over a ton, so they're massive and just lovely big bulls strolling past in the background. It is a male wildebeest, and they are very often found on their own. They haven't been abandoned by the herd or anything like that. They just establish a territory and hope that the females pass through. We then made our way to Punda rest camp, which is the furthest north of the public rest camps, where we found these delightful birds, the crested guinea fowl. Now the helmeted guinea fowl, which is the one we get around our waterhole, they are pretty entertaining. And these are equally entertaining, but they also have the most ridiculous hairdo, which gives them a few extra points. Dwarf mongooses that have found a little hole in a leadwood tree.
Piece of grass that's in the way. We can't roll forward. We'll have to start the car. You see this one piece of grass?
A lot of bird watchers make their way to the far north of the park because there are quite a few species there which aren't commonly found elsewhere in South Africa, like this Dickinson's kestrel. An unusual sighting, a daytime chameleon that's not crossing the road. It was extremely hot, so a lot of the animals were chilling out like these baboons. This is an armoured ground cricket, a fearsome looking scavenger that's very common in the north of the park. And here we have a Nyala bull. Animals can get quite relaxed in the campsites, but they have been known to attack people if they get too close. A few more eland just north of the Luvuvu River. Big male in the background. There's a short walking trail in the Punda rest camp. The only thing of interest I found were these harvester termites. The dude with a massive head is a soldier, and he's trying to protect all the little workers. They take dead grass down into their nest. Now they do have pigment, or more pigment than other termites, so you do find them active in the day. And here are a couple of giant eagle owls. There were a few rock pools on the Mpongola River. Well, it's not really a river, it's dry for the most part. And we went there on 2 occasions, and both times it was just absolutely packed full of animals. It was extremely hot and dry, so buffalo lying in puddles of water was something we saw quite a lot of. At the Babalala picnic site we found a couple of boomslang. They were there a few days before, but they were moving around through the branches and I couldn't film them. This time they were a bit more relaxed. They have a very potent venom, but they inject it in very small quantities and it's very slow acting, and they're also quite placid, so bites are rare and deaths are even rarer. There was a big bull trying to sneak up behind us, so I had to keep an eye on him, but he didn't give us any trouble. Some young baboons frolicking around in a very large baobab tree. Found a baby puffadder sunning itself in the middle of the road, so I had to escort it off the road with a towel, and it really wasn't happy with me, but it was for its own good. And this is a tsessebe, also a male, so likely a territorial male. It's just waiting for some females to pass through his area. And Punda Maria has a lovely waterhole just outside the fence at the campsite, and also a hide. And even though there was quite a lot of water around, there was still a lot of animals coming to drink. This was the same place where we found all the hippos lying outside the previous day. And this elephant was just digging in the riverbank trying to generate some mud so he could splash it all over himself. And then one of the hippos decided to come up for a closer inspection and got told off by the elephant. There were elephant and buffalo visiting the camp waterhole every night. And this is a thick-tailed bush baby, or galago, about the size of a smallish cat. They have a very loud and terrifying call if you don't know what it is. We went back to the rock pools on the Umpongola River, and this day we found a lot of crocodiles. We didn't see them the previous day, but something was happening and they were catching fish. Mostly small fish, but it was very frustrating because wherever I pointed my camera they would pop up and splashing somewhere else, so I missed most of the action.
Here comes Ellie's.
close to where we parked there was a jackalberry tree with a Nile monitor lying about halfway up. Yellow-billed oxpeckers used to be extinct in the park, and then they made their own way back in, and now they're much more common. You find them all over now. I felt very sorry for the zebra. It was extremely hot and they were waiting very patiently at the waterhole, but there was no way the elephants were going to let them near. And as some elephants would move off, there'd be new elephants arriving, so they probably spent the whole day waiting. Only bulls here, and some of them quite big, although we didn't see any of the really massive tuskers. Thanks for watching.